got a chance to get with a good, close personal friend of mine, Mr. Nuri West. So this is the very first podcast for the Education Collective. So I'm nervous about it. So I had to make sure that I reached out to a good friend, somebody who could get me underway and get us going. So, man, thanks a lot, man. I
appreciate you having me. I got to look at the camera. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Look, man, it's been a long time. I know we got a long history. And, I feel like if I'm going to launch and start something that really is based on Philly barbering, the tri-state area, Delaware, Philadelphia, New Jersey, like, I got to start with a legend. I'm sorry, man. I got to put you on the spot here, So this is kind of I'm going to ambush you. I'm going to give you a heads up. I'm about to ambush
you. Let's go.
So what I mean is, listen, man, I think we wait far too long to give people their flowers.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that expression comes from people who are no longer with us. And, we can't, really give them the credit that they deserve. And, man, I've been watching you from the sidelines. I've been involved. And we'll talk a little bit more about it in the future. But I just don't think that Nuri West, Major League Barber, really gets enough credit, for the culture of barbering, not just in Philadelphia, but I would say nationally. I've even seen your impact overseas. I've been a part of some shows internationally, and I've seen the impact. And, I'm saying that because I graduated barber school in 1995, right? So I've been in the industry for a long time. And back then, you'll remember, Wes, you would go to trade shows, and there was nothing for barbers there. Outside of walking away with a pair of clippers from like Andis or Wall, like there was no classrooms for barbers. There was no platform for barbers. There was no stage for barbers or anything. So, man, shout out to you because you have directly impacted the game. And I think that whether people know who you are or not, everyone is greatly benefiting from the work that you put in behind the scenes. And that's why I say I'm going to put you on blast because you're a humble guy. You don't like to talk about it. You don't like to take the credit. I've seen you shy away from it. But it's important for people to know who you are and how you impacted the industry. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about, if you're okay with that, sir.
Hey, let's go, man. Just loving what I do, man. And everybody's put here for a purpose.
Yeah.
I think that's, that is one of my purposes.
Yeah.
Of being here and helping people, man.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about, man.
Yeah.
You help people, they help you, and it's about unity. So,
yeah,
the whole thing.
Well, I mean, I love that. I feel like that's your the way you move. That's your operation. We see that. But, I kind of want to switch gears a little bit. Let's give them a little bit of history real quick. A quick rundown.
Take a little drink real quick,
all right. Man. So here's the rundown. We'll talk about number one, so a world famous barbershop in Philadelphia, Uptown, Wild Styles. When did you open that? When did it start? How did that get going?
Well, Wild Style started with me and my brother Naj. We opened it in '95.
Yeah.
And it was basically, man, something, we wanted to do because we come from a family of barbers and stylists. So, being brothers, we said, okay, let's open a shop. So from there, we just incorporated other barbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so it started there, the whole Major League Barber organization and being unified started at Wild Style.
Yeah. You corrected me earlier because I thought you were a second generation barber. So my dad is a barber. He's a barber. He barbered up until I was like 5 years old. He had a shop, and then he went and did something else full time. So I'm a second generation barber. I thought we were second generation barbers, but you want to tell the audience a little bit about your background?
Yeah, it started with my grandmother was a stylist and a barber, and my dad was a barber.
Yeah.
So then I came along being a barber, then my brother, like my nephews and cousins, things like that. It's a whole family.
Man, listen, talk about DNA.
Yeah.
It's in your DNA for sure.
I didn't really want to be a barber.
Yeah?
Nah, man.
I'm surprised at that, man.
No, I didn't want to be a barber, man. It was, I really didn't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? I moved with my grandmom at a certain age, so after that, when I got out of high school, right when I got out of high school, a week later, no less than 7 days, I was in barbering school.
Yeah.
In 1987.
Wow. That's crazy. Look, man, I'm thankful that you did become a barber, even though you didn't want to. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. We got some funny backstory to talk about. You
Yeah.
know, we go back when people see us at the trade shows or supporting one another on our pages. They might wonder, like, yo, how that relationship started.
Yeah.
So, here's a real funny story. You might remember this. Please interject along the way.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to. So, I was cutting uptown too, right? So I was cutting uptown at Cuts to the Point, 76 and Ogons Avenue.
That was the shop.
Yeah, I had a couple good friends of mine, Eric and Lee. We were working together, and our shops ring bells uptown. If you weren't going to Wild Styles, you was coming up Ogons to Cuts to the Point.
To the Point.
There was a thing. Of course, you had on Germantown Avenue. You also had the hair company back then.
Oh yeah.
But you and I, we were the next generation. Some of those barbers before us were a lot older. So we did this hair show one time, right? So it was a hair show. It was down like 38 First District Plaza. I forget what that place is called. 38th Market, yeah. So it was this hair show, and the audience will like this. So this is funny. So we did this theme, and the theme for our show was like, we had, I forget, 10 minutes to present, and it was like we did 3 different fights. So I had my 2 younger brothers. They were dressed as boxers. I mean, they had the boxing gloves on. They had the shorts, the trunks. Like, we oiled them down on stage for the ladies and everything. And then we had another scene, and this other scene was like a karate scene. So we had the guys in the karate outfits. So, we had a whole bunch of props. But when I think about Wild Styles, people might not realize it now, but I used to think of y'all like the Wu-Tang Clan, man.
Yeah, we were.
You were the RZA, and I mean, y'all had You Guy, Ghostface, Killer, Meth, Raekwon the Chef. Like, here I'm coming from a barber shop. It's just a few guys. We worked in the unisex salon, but you guys had the whole barber shop, man. And we go backstage, and we get ready to go on, and I'm backstage, and I got my 2 younger brothers. I got my wife with me. I got a couple of models, and one barber I was with, my man Eric. And man, we come in there. I guess we look like early Bad Boy. And here y'all come, the Wu-Tang Clan, right? We got the silk on and everything, y'all. And these guys are backstage. And you had some guys, so I'll say some troublemakers in your crew, Wes.
There's a lot of them.
Y'all had some troublemakers. So we backstage, ready to go on, and it's a lot of tension. Lots of tension. Back in the early 90s, it was just a lot of tension.
They was trying to intimidate y'all.
Y'all guys tried hard to intimidate us. And y'all got under my feathers. I'm not gonna lie. You ruffled my feathers. And I got out of character, and I was like, I was ready to fight, man.
Yeah.
I was ready to fight because I felt so disrespected by, it felt like it was like 40 of y'all. It probably was 20.
They was disrespecting. They were. But I gotta say.
Well, listen.
Sorry, fellas, y'all was.
Well, listen. All right. So the disrespectful part for me was some guys made some unsavory comments towards my wife, and then another guy
I didn't know that. Wow.
took the shoes of one of the models that we had, the karate fighter, and threw him down the steps and hid him from us. They're telling us we got a 2-minute call, we're about to go on, there's no shoes there. I stand up on this chair, and I'm like, I'm out of character, but I'm like, if the show can't go on for us, it's not gonna go on for anybody. Like, that's my mindset.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, here comes Nuri West, the RZA, steps in the middle, and I really don't know you that well at that time, but yo, when I say you jump right in the middle of everything about to happen, and I've never seen somebody have such a common spirit. Like, you brought me way, way down. I probably was about to get beat up because it was like 40 of y'all, and it was like me and 3 guys.
Yeah.
But you calmed everything way down, and you got the shoes and everything back. You corrected your guys. You got everybody back in line. We go on, we wind up performing and everything. We did take first place, man. I'm sorry, but I got to throw that in. Throw that in.
Hey, y'all, go ahead.
But y'all had a dope show, some fire haircuts. I remember y'all giving out the roses and all of that. But I'll never forget that moment because I felt like in the height of like all of this madness, like you just kind of came in and quieted the storm, man. And I was like, all right, that was pretty cool, but I couldn't let on. I couldn't let on, and I was impressed how you did it. But I just was like, that was my real first interaction with you. And I want to say that probably was like 1996, 7, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it was like 96, 97.
Yeah, so you're 2, 3 years in the business, right?
Yeah.
I'm 2, 3 years out of the barber school. And that's
you
how
beat
we
us
met
just
each
like
other.
that. Hey, it was a. I mean, y'all deserved it. I mean, y'all. I think what it is. One of the things that really took y'all over the top was that the incident in the back.
Yeah.
And y'all was like, we gonna beat these guys.
Y'all put fire under us, man.
We came out smooth, and we came out. We did that act quite a few other times, but you guys was more creative.
Yeah.
And just all the way around, from haircuts and y'all guys knew how to fight. Y'all knew that karate. And I told my guys afterwards, I said, because they was like, man, we gonna beat them little karate cute dudes up. I said, no, cuz, did you see them on stage? Y'all need to leave them guys alone.
They got some moves for real.
No, I said they know some moves, and y'all had nunchucks.
Well, look, man, I'm glad y'all ain't call our bluff because, listen, we wasn't no real karate guys. But
I was sold on it. Look, sometimes you can't go. You see, y'all was flipping.
Yeah, we was flipping, rolling, nunchucks, man. All of that. Then we had the boxing gloves and all that. My brothers was all cut up.
I don't know what split. Did we win something? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we definitely both won something. I mean, we was obviously the
I think we was like second, third, but y'all definitely, y'all came, y'all did it. I mean, it was good.
It was a momentous moment, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't know that it would start such a friendship some years later.
Yeah, tell me about that. You gonna tell me?
So I was, out of the crew.
I was making friendship. You wasn't.
I wasn't. No, I wasn't playing nice. So, all right, let's tell some of the listeners what happened, and I'm gonna apologize early on. So, at this time, we fast forward a little bit. I got my first shop in partnership with Eric and Lee. We got Picasso's, we're on Ups on Lime Kiln Pike. It's some years later, and one day we there cutting, the shop is packed, and who walks into the front door? This guy right here, Nuri West, the RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan.
I was showing respect, love.
No, so I didn't take it like that at all. He walks in the shop, I'm like, nah, like what is this dude doing in my shop? So he comes in, he might have stayed 20 or 30 minutes, he just like shooting the breeze with us talking, and he left out. So Eric right away was like, yo, Haas, like, why was you acting like that? He just was here to just spread some love. I'm like, no, I don't trust this guy.
You still had animosity for the karate and boxing days.
I absolutely felt some kind of way. So about 3 months later, man, I want to say you did that again. You popped up, you came in the shop, and I'm like looking with the side eye. I'm like, see, Eric, you back again, man. I don't trust this guy. And, again, you stayed 20, 30 minutes, checked up on us, and rolled out. Man, by the third, fourth time you did that, I started feeling bad because Eric was like rubbing it in my face. He was like, see, I told you. You just here to show some love. I'm like,
you was hard on me. And I didn't think about that because it wasn't that deep. And I was like, maybe he just, going through something. And I was like, hey man, how you doing? You was like, I was like, I don't know if that, maybe he's this guy, because I had your character. I had your character like boom, and it was like that. But I didn't know it was until like later on, until we talked, and you was like, I said, man, I knew it was something. I said, but I didn't hold it on you.
Yeah.
I was like, man, he just probably going
and
through
I
something.
did, man.
You don't want to, you know what I mean?
I'm embarrassed to say it now. Like I was like, I said, Eric, listen, man. Everybody has an angle. He's got an angle, man. I don't know what it is,
went on for
but
a
I
while.
don't trust him.
It went on for years.
It did, man.
You held that dream for years.
I held on to it. So, in my immaturity, I really did.
Hey, man, we all go through it. You know what I mean? That's just part, man. Like, because from one thing about barbers, man, that we could be next door to each other, up the street, and we don't have no communication or relationship.
Yep.
So it starts it's everywhere. It ain't just in our town. It's I go from town to town and I see it, and it's crazy because me doing that, visiting from shop to shop, I didn't know that was the beginning of me starting in my city, then going around the world doing that and uniting and just having, like, we having a good conversation, man. I would just go in shops and just have a good conversation and learn. Like each shop, yes, we have things in common, but we also we have that individuality about ourselves. You go in the shop, man, and you learn different personalities and different things, and you can actually learn. So that's what I like, man. I just like learning, man, expanding my horizons and my mindset.
Hey, man, listen, again, kudos to you because you were a trendsetter. Like you were making a new wave. And the 90s were brutal, man. You remember guys that barbershops was getting robbed by other barbers.
Yeah.
And people who were envious. I know personally, like I received death threats after hair shows and phone calls, and one show, people threatened to like slash my face at a show. Like it was a hostile environment, and I think that that wall that I put up
Yeah,
against you was like this protective thing. Like I felt like, hey, like who's coming in our shop? But man, you were a trendsetter. Like you were making a new way. And that's what I feel like. Those are the things that people don't know about that you don't get enough credit for. And you know, that was very interesting because now, if we think about that and fast forward, you know, I'll tell you. So we to let the audience know, I got over it. We became cool, right? We became cool.
Friends.
And I'll fast forward a little bit further. In 2006, I opened up another location, my second location, which is still there, the Marco's Hair Artistry. I opened it up, and in 2006, like always, here you come. You're coming off the road now. Now you're traveling. You're in so many different cities. And you came to me. You was like, Haas, let me tell you what your problem is. I remember this conversation like yesterday. He's like, you're in this cave. And I'm like, what you talking about, man? I'm doing all right. You know, at the time I had a nice staff.
Rolling.
I was busy. I was cutting, you know how we cut as barbers, 60, 70 hours a week. I thought I was doing it all. He was like, no, man, you burnt out. And I was like reluctant to admit it, but I was. And I was like, yeah, man, but this is what we do, right? And he was like, no, man, you need to get out of this cave. You need to come out. And I was like, I don't know, Wes. So he was like, listen, it's this show I'm doing up in, I think it was in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Secaucus,
he was like, I want you and Eric to come out, man. Just come judge for me. Just come to the competition and just judge. And I was like, man, I don't want to come out to them shows. There's nothing there for us. You all but forced me to come. And I was like, all right. We came to the show, man, I was like a kid in a candy store. Like, cause it had been years since I was out at a major trade show. Cause I felt like it was nothing for us. And I went, man, my mind was blown. I didn't realize what you were doing on the road.
Yeah.
So when we got back to Philly, that's what you talked about. He was like, Haas, that's what I wanted you to see. Like, you need to get out. And I was like, yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And then you had another show come up, IBS, New York City. I want to say it was the same year. Maybe it was the same year.
Maybe, yeah, same year or a few years after, yeah.
Yeah, and you was like, Haas, come on out, man. Just come judge again. This time I was less reluctant, but still reluctant.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, you and E, y'all need to come up. So me and Eric, this time, you know, we got a hotel room. We came up, stayed overnight, went to the show. Like, it was, again, just an amazing experience. Like, I met barbers that I know today from that show that you invited me back to in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and up and coming barbers.
Yeah, man.
Like guys that's giving their own shows and things like that. And it don't seem like it was that long ago, man.
Listen, man, I'm gonna go out on the list. I was there, me, Jay Majors. We were guys that you invited to the show, and you invited us to have a part of your platform, you know? And it was great, man. Like, and I'm like, you know, wow, this is different. Like, and it wasn't probably until my second show that I really realized the magnitude of what you were doing. Again, even though we're close friends, your humility, like you weren't beating your own drum. Like you weren't like, yo, I got all this going on. And when I got there and saw the connections you were making, saw the impact in the industry, like I was like blown away. I was like, wow, this is big. This is major league, you know?
Yeah, like to me, man, it always seems like surreal, you know? I don't take anything for granted. Yeah. And it's not really, I don't really do this for me. I do it for us, for the industry. Yeah. So everybody can feel the energy and be a part. Because one of the things, man, we lack in our industry, man, nobody really lets anybody really be a part. Everybody has their own individual stage in their light. Yeah. Right? And it's spread it around. Instead of seeing the big picture, let's create one big stage and we all on it. And the light, in that particular light, is shined on us. Because it's shined on us, it expands. Yeah. So it expands and it's more energy, it's more light instead of just over here. Because if you're over here by yourself, how much energy that you can create? Yeah. While you have like-minded people around you in a group. And the energy continues to grow and grow and grow. Yeah. So that's how I see it. Yeah, man. Like being by myself. Who wants to play by themselves?
Listen, man, I can't disagree with you. Like I've seen you do that. I've seen you share your platform with so many people. I've seen you give a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of people who are listening to this podcast nodding their head because they realize that they were a part of that. Like, you know, I had a beautiful experience. One of the companies that I work with, Clubman,
Yeah.
and that exchange came from you. Like, you know, you invited me to your show one time, said, Haas, hey, I just need you to just come speak. I'll give you like 30 minutes just to get on the platform, talk about what you want to talk about. And I remember feeling like, people don't want to listen to me, Wes. And you were like, yo, they do. Trust me, you got something, just come talk. And it was one of the first speaking engagements I had at any show. And the Clubman rep was there. And what I didn't know is that you had already established a relationship with that major brand. I mean, we're talking about a company over 200 years old. And
Easy, yeah.
you had already connected with this brand, and they came looking for people. You know, they came looking for educators. They knew who you were, your significance and your impact. And you didn't have to, but you recommended me. Like you gave them my contact information and had them contact me, and it opened the door for me to get me to educating nationally and internationally, being a brand ambassador and an educator for a major company. Like, people don't know about those things. And I wasn't the only person that you did that for. Like, you had an opportunity and you were so unselfish. Like, you spread it around, you didn't ask for anything back. You gave many people opportunities, and like, you know, again, I'm giving you flowers, because if not for those opportunities, I can't say how many doors were open for me after that. And there's so much that I've learned and been a part of in the industry because of that moment, right? And where did it start at? Right at Major League, right? Right at Major League Barber show. And, you know, I know you have a show in Philly, right? You got one coming up this year in November.
November, yeah.
I champion the cause for all the Major League shows. I don't miss one. I know, let's just talk about, you know, I don't want to put Philly on the spot too much, but let's talk about that, because I attend the shows in Philadelphia, but then I attend shows other places like Midwest and in LA. And when I go, man, like the turnout is just like mega. I mean, the Philly show does well in its own right, but man, I've been to shows that you've had outside of the country, like, and they're 2-3 times larger than what they are here in Philly. You're in Puerto Rico. Like, tell the guys where you're at, what you're doing, where they can find you at, what they can expect.
You can find us. You can go on mlbarbertradeshows.com, and that can give you all the different locations of the different shows that we do around the world. Basically, man, we go to Chicago, we go to Puerto Rico, LA, Philly, Nashville, Raleigh, North Carolina, Las Vegas. It could be a few that I'm missing. It's a lot few that I'm missing. Minnesota. We do various different cities, man. And each city has its own niche, you know, where they might have different, you know, of course people fly in from different places. And also you have the different people in the cities and the nearby in that particular city that come out. So getting back to what we were talking about with Philly, well, I'm a go on a record with Philly. As the years has been growing, more Philly natives has been coming out. A lot of times I'm gonna say with Philly, we kind of like, we hinder ourselves as being the artists. A lot of times we, you know, just like, it's not just a barber and a stylist. A lot of times it'd be our egos. So Philly, as a barber and a stylist, we have really big egos. And sometimes as barber and stylist, we feel there was nothing else that we need to learn. But going to record, Philly, y'all have been coming out, and it's been getting better. And it's just, you know, we so competitive with one another. It's just, you know, our city is built like that. And we're not really a sharing city. Yes, it's the city of brotherly love, but it really isn't. But it's growing, it's getting better.
It's getting better.
And you know, with the Philly show, it always was people from out of town that came in. So the people that's in town has been coming. And it's good, man. Energy each year. We do a survey, it's getting better and better and better. You know, like I said, the other cities, like each city has its own niche.
They got their own feel.
Some cities, just like Chicago, they come out in thousands.
Man.
And the inner city, the whole Midwest, is like a melting pot. But we grooming the other cities, Philly, to be like that. It's just, man. Again, cities have to unite inside their cities to grow. You can't be mad and upset, oh, this city come out, so what are we going to do? Like I always challenge Philly, and I go around the shop to shop myself. What we doing?
Listen, I'm taking a page out of your book. Like you gave back, right? And I feel like now, you know, I'm a 30-year barber, right? I mean, it's funny to say. I mean, I graduated barber school in '95. I was cutting before that, so we're 2023. So I feel like I'm so proud of the next generation and younger guys, and that's what the Education Collective is about. You know, the Education Collective is it's an attempt to change the expectations, to change the culture, you know, to change the view and outlook that people have on Philly-based barbering. And the people that I'm inviting to the show, people who have been a part of it, we all like-minded, and we've been thinking about, you know, how is it that we can give back to the next generation? And how is it that we can kind of break that cycle that we've seen? Yeah, Philly, we know right now, unfortunately, it's not the safest city. It is a lot of times the barber shop just becomes a place where we kind of get in our cave, like I used to be, right? We're comfortable in our own space, and we don't want to like branch out. But the Education Collective is about that. It's about bringing people together, getting out your shop, come, let's humble ourselves and let's learn together. Nobody has a monopoly on skill. Nobody has a monopoly on education, right? Let's share together, let's build together, let's get better together, right? And I feel like that's a page from your book, because that's what you were doing at the outset. Like when you were visiting these shops and traveling and coming around, like, yeah, that's great. And I think we need even more of that, you know? So I think that, like you said, November this year is a great opportunity. If you guys listening have not had a chance to come to an MLB show, come out, you know, spend a little money, support the barbers that are there, support the small businesses that are there. Again, Nuri, he's giving people an opportunity. They have booths, they have tables, there's competitions. I know you got some new exciting things. You're about to go online.
Oh yeah.
With some competitions. You want to talk about that a little bit?
We're getting ready to do, we're doing this online. It should be up. Give it about somewhere in middle May or end of May. It's going to be called Elite. Let me forget. Let me remember. EliteChampions.net. Because you got a lot of different titles and different websites. So EliteChampions.net. You can go on there. Basically, you guys, it's going to be an online competitions of, it's going to be a lot of different categories. It's going to be from barbering, and underneath barbering, you're going to have all the different competitions and categories of fading, of creative haircuts underneath barbering. Then we're going to have tattooing.
Love it.
Then we're going to have braiding.
Yeah.
Stylists, whatever goes underneath that. And something new that we're adding to that particular, and I'm gonna drop it right here. We adding, because it's all part of barbering. You're gonna like this, Haas. We're gonna go with animal grooming.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it, because I've seen some of that. Those guys are creative, man.
Yeah. So and much more.
Yeah.
You know, so you can go on again, EliteChampions.net. You can also go on MLBarberTradeShows.com.
Yeah, we'll make sure we tag those.
Yeah,
Put them in there.
I kind of hit them right, because I was getting ready. I was messing up Elite, but yeah. So and also OriginalMajorLeagueBarber.com. Everything is connected. You can go on there and actually see what's going on.
Yeah.
But that, you know, you guys, EliteChampions.com.net is also going to be advertisement and branding opportunities for up and coming companies.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, and you know, it's going to be an online community, something like what you have Instagram, but it's going to be that whole umbrella for everything in our industry. It's going to be your one-stop shop.
Love that, man. Listen, I'm not surprised. You always have been on the cutting edge and advancing the industry, which is why you're here, first guest.
Appreciate it, man.
You know, before we conclude, I just want to maybe just touch on a final subject and get your thoughts on it.
Let's go.
So I always tell the younger generation of barbers that I'm jealous
Yeah.
Because when we went to barber school and when we learned, right, you had to go up the street to old Mr. John and just sit there, or maybe just learn from your dad or something like you and I did. The world education and information was hard to access. But now, you know, you got YouTube, Instagram, you know, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all these platforms, and information is there. Like if I want to learn from a barber in Japan, I could do that immediately, right? And I feel like it's made the world flat, right? The learning curve has been greatly changed. Where you and I would have had to travel to Europe to go to a show to learn from a European educator in the 90s. Now you can do that from the comfort of your couch, right? So the world being flat, Philadelphia has always had something very unique. You go back to these creative styles of haircuts that we had. We were doing coloring and dyeing. I find it, you know, it's interesting that people are really just discovering some of the techniques that we were using back in the 90s.
And they still are.
They still are, right?
Yeah.
So with the world being flat, or in other words, with people being able to learn from what we're doing in such an advanced way, just so quickly, I feel like some of the secrets and tips and tricks that we've created, skills that we've honed over the years, have been easily accessed by people all over the world. So we've kind of lost something. You know, we had something that was very close to the world's eye. You saw a Philly cut in the 80s and 90s and people were just blown away, like how did they do that? But now, you know, all things have been exposed now. But with the world being flat now, and with education being so accessible as it is, I just wanted to get your take on that. What advice would you give to an up-and-coming young person, new to the industry? You got all of these different resources. You're from Philly or you're from Texas or anywhere. What would be your advice? Give them something as a secret to success in this modern landscape of education and social network.
I got something simple. Keep an open mind. Meaning, keep your mind open to continue to grow and learn. Okay, the good thing about internet and things like that, and I've seen it, you know, a lot of times we reach a certain level and then we think that we don't need to learn anything else. But we've seen it from us coming up in our era, in our city. It's basically the same, because now, since you just said about online, they learn faster.
Yeah.
So meaning you're learning faster, what? Your revenue is growing faster. So meaning what's growing quick with your revenue is what? Your ego.
Yeah. Good point.
So a lot of times the ego growing, man, you know, boom. So I would say keep that open mind, keep everything balanced, and you could be able to go not just sky's the limit, past the skies.
Yeah.
So keep an open mind and be able to, that once that mind is open, you can always learn. And go out to the shows. Just don't get stuck online.
Right.
Because I know a lot of people that just get stuck online, and then when they finally come to shows, like, wow, man, I seen it. I could do it all. Yeah. Don't limit yourself.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Thank
It
you.
really is. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think education is not perishable, right?
At all.
I could buy a pair of clippers or a tool and it's going to break. Right?
Yeah.
At some point, it's going to outlive its life expectancy, but not education. Yeah. So that's great advice. I say use it. You know, come out to the shows. Don't paint yourself into the corner and
At all, man.
You know, oh, I just learned online, because you're missing out on a lot. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this to because I, like, you know, we meet a lot of people, and it's nothing wrong with it. But I always say, you know, don't limit yourself. Like, you ask a person, hey, what's your you got a business card? Oh, this is my IG. Nothing wrong with that, but you still need a business card too. That physical, even though it's old school, but the basics.
Yeah.
The basics, just learning the basics structure and adding the other things on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, that's great advice.
Yeah.
Great advice. And listen, you come to the show. Remember, I told you, the most humble and approachable guy in the building is going to be Nuri West. So if you guys don't know him, sometimes he'll be at his own show and you wouldn't even know that this is the CEO of the company.
I might be looking like the guy that helped set up the pipe and drape, the booth.
That's right.
And a lot of times I do help out because you know, certain things just keep you rounded and it keep you grounded. And you know, and in doing certain things, you could be able to see things in a different perspective.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, you got to keep learning.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't learning, man.
Listen, you do, man. You set a great example. So I'm giving you your flowers. Barbers, when he's visiting your shops, because he will be, he still continues to do that.
Man. Yeah, I love it. He
still continues to do it. Give him his flowers when you see him. You know, we put him on the spot. For you guys that don't know, this is Nuri West of Major League Barber, an individual who has impacted the game on levels that we probably can't even understand at this point. But we thank you for that. We appreciate everything that you do.
Man, I appreciate
this. I love you, man.
Love you too, man. I appreciate this, man.
I look forward to supporting you and your business ventures in the future, moving forward in any shape, way possible. So
same here, man.
All right.
And you know, man, we love what we do. We love what you do, and you do what you love. I mean, we got the L's up for that.
Yeah.
And hey, man, I appreciate you having me on here, man. And congratulations on this, man, because this is much needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, you guys that's watching, hey, man, hit him on an email. And you know, be able to get on here, man. Yeah. And the ambiance of this is beautiful, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And we can get to express, man, on how we feel. Yeah. This is something, man, we don't have here.
Yeah.
In our city.
Well, we're gonna keep growing. We're gonna grow together. I'm a firm believer in that. You know, I don't have all the answers, but I know collectively we do. So we're gonna continue to have an education collective each month. We're doing one class here at this location. It's expanding and growing quickly, so we're looking for a new location because the feedback has been great. We'll also continue to have our podcast here, and there's some other wrinkles to this that are still evolving. So this is going to grow. It's going to grow. So we encourage you guys to get in on the ground floor, follow us, keep up with what's going on. So this is episode 1 on the Education Collective.
Episode 1.
Episode 1 with the number 1 guy here, my guy.
Hey, man, that's
but thanks again. Yeah, I'd like to thank you.
I'll give you a shake again.
And thank everyone for listening in. Stay tuned, and you know where to find us on all social network platforms and podcasts that are available. Thanks again, everybody. This is Hassan DeMarco with the Education Collective.
All right, you guys.